He never imagined the sea would bring her back into his life. Ethan Cole stood barefoot on the shore, the wet sand cool beneath his feet, watching the waves roll in and retreat as if they were breathing. The ocean had always done that to him, calmed him, reminded him that life moved forward no matter how tangled things felt inside. Behind him, laughter echoed. Not hers, their daughter's. Lily ran along the waterline, her small footprints filling quickly with foam before disappearing. She was 8 now, curious, bright, and far more perceptive than either of her parents realized. "Daddy, look!" she shouted, holding up a shell like it was treasure. Ethan smiled. "That's a good one. Keep it safe." And then he heard a familiar voice. "Lily, don't go too far." His chest tightened. Claire. He hadn't heard her voice in person for almost 2 years. Phone calls, yes. Short, careful messages about schedules, school events, and medical forms. But hearing her now, softened by the sea breeze, felt like opening a door he'd worked very hard to keep shut. She walked toward them, sunlight reflecting off the water behind her. She wore a simple blue cover-up, her hair loose, slightly damp from the sea. She looked different, not younger, not older, just real. For a moment neither of them spoke, then Claire smiled politely. "She's faster than she looks." Ethan nodded. "Always has been." They stood side by side, a careful distance between them. Two people who knew each other too well, pretending they were strangers. This trip wasn't supposed to feel like this. They'd agreed to it for Lily, a short seaside vacation, neutral territory, shared time. A way to show their daughter that even though things had changed, love hadn't disappeared. What neither of them had planned for was how quickly the past would rise with the tide. Later, when Lily was busy building something that looked nothing like a sandcastle, Ethan and Claire waded into the shallow water together. The sea was cool, gentle. "It's calmer than I expected," Claire said. "Yeah," Ethan replied, "like it's trying not to scare anyone away." She glanced at him, something unreadable in her eyes, or reminding us to slow down. They walked a few steps deeper, water brushing against their legs. The horizon stretched endlessly ahead of them, blue meeting blue. For a while there was only the sound of waves, then it happened. A sudden shift of water, a small misstep, and Claire reached instinctively to steady herself. Her cover-up moved, slipped slightly as the wave pulled back. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't deliberate, it was just human. She froze. Ethan turned away instantly, eyes fixed on the horizon. "You don't have to look," she said quickly, her voice calm but edged with something fragile. "I'm not," he replied, just as quickly. "I promise." She adjusted herself, took a breath. "Okay." The moment passed, but something else stayed. They walked back toward the shore, both quieter now. The air between them felt heavier, not with attraction, but with awareness, of how close they still were, of how easily old boundaries could blur. That night, Lily fell asleep early, exhausted from the sun and salt. Ethan sat on the balcony of the small rented apartment, listening to the sea. He hadn't even realized Claire had stepped outside until she spoke. "Mind if I join you?" "Of course not." She sat a chair away, folding her legs beneath her. The moon reflected off the water below, pale and steady. "She had a good day," Claire said softly. "She did," Ethan agreed. "She needed this." "So did we," she said before she could stop herself. Silence followed. "I didn't mean," she began. "It's okay," Ethan said. "I know what you meant." They sat there, two parents bound by a child, two people shaped by shared years. "Do you ever think about how we got here?" Claire asked. "All the time," he admitted. "I used to believe love was enough," she said, "that if two people cared deeply, things would work out. And now?" Ethan asked. "Now I think love needs space to breathe," she said, "and we didn't know how to give it that." Ethan nodded. He'd replayed those years in his mind countless times. The long work hours, the quiet resentment, the exhaustion that turned conversations into arguments. "We were tired," he said. "Not of each other, just of everything." Claire smiled sadly. "I wish we'd known that then. So do I." The next day unfolded slowly. A boat ride. Ice cream. Lily's laughter floating between them like a bridge. They were careful with each other, respectful. But the ease surprised them both. It felt natural, like slipping into an old rhythm without forcing it. That afternoon, as Lily napped, Claire and Ethan walked along the shoreline again. "You seem different," Claire said. "So do you. I think divorce changes you," she said. "Not all at once, but piece by piece." "It taught me how to listen," Ethan said. "Really listen." She looked at him, her gaze lingering. "You were always trying, and you were always carrying too much," he replied. They stopped walking. "Ethan," Claire said carefully, "we're not here to fix the past. I know, and I'm not asking for anything. I know that too." They stood there, the sea moving around their ankles, the wind lifting her hair gently. "But," she continued, "I don't want to pretend there's nothing here." He met her eyes. "Neither do I." They didn't touch. They didn't need to. That evening, Lily asked a question neither of them expected. "Why don't you live together anymore?" she asked, swinging her legs off the couch. Claire and Ethan exchanged a glance. "Sometimes," Ethan said slowly, "two people love each other but forget how to take care of themselves." "And each other," Claire added. "Does that mean you don't love each other now?" Lily asked. The honesty of the question hit them both. Ethan spoke first. "Love changes." Claire nodded. "But caring never went away." Lily thought about this, then smiled. "Okay. Children, Ethan." Realized, often understood more than adults gave them credit for. On the last night of the trip, the sky darkened with clouds. The sea grew louder, restless. Claire stood at the window watching the waves. "Storm's coming," she said. "Yeah." She turned to him. "I don't regret this week. Neither do I." They stood closer now, not by intention but by gravity. "Ethan," she said quietly, "what happens after this?" He thought of routines, of school runs, of quiet evenings alone. "I don't know," he admitted. "But I don't want to rush into something just because it feels familiar." She smiled. "I was hoping you'd say that." He hesitated, then said, "I don't want to look away anymore from what we were, or what we could be." Her breath caught slightly. "Neither do I," she said. When the storm finally came, it was gentle, rain tapping against the glass, steady and patient. They sat together on the couch, not touching but close enough to feel each other's warmth. For the first time in years, nothing felt urgent, just possible. Months later, life continued as it always did. School schedules, work deadlines, shared responsibilities. But something had shifted. They talked more, laughed more, listened better. They didn't promise forever. They promised honesty. And sometimes when they stood near the sea, real or remembered, Ethan thought of that moment when she'd said, "You don't have to look," and how choosing not to look away had changed everything, because some love doesn't need to be loud. It just needs space to return.